I'm going to post this video as a response to Holden Coffee. He provides some links to some pretty good stuff. I don't understand all of it, but I'm trying to get there in terms of organizing people on that general subject. How to do it. I've sort of talked on that before, that organization really needs to be built, structured in such a way that people don't offend each other, that the anemones can move in one direction without fighting with each other inside the group, and ending up going in all different directions. But anyway, yeah, so this is sort of a follow-up to the last video. Hopefully not as pointless, but it won't be terribly pointed either. I just thought I'd clear up some maybe misconceptions, whatever. So anyway, on the subscriber thing, I only mention it as a self-deprecating point, is that ideas are hard to sell. I mean, they're not showy. They don't put on a very good performance, and that's a liability. I mean, there's got to be change. It's going to require some kind of infectiousness, some sort of power to compel people and to interest people and get people talking about stuff that is kind of boring, and that's not easy to do. It's not even that the stuff is boring, it's that just people want to avoid, oh, well, we have to talk about the doom. Yeah, well, no, doom and gloom, no, those aren't great subjects. Or serious stuff, like who we are, what we're doing here, those kind of things most people kind of run away from. And so it's all the ways it's sold, and like I said, it's not really about me. The point of the video I was making wasn't about me. It was just about the fact that there's nothing. I mean, I just like everybody else. I just like something to help push. You know what I mean? It's like somebody knocks on my door and says, "Oh, their car's stuck," and all I have to do is push. And it's like, great. I don't have to think. I don't have to do much. I just have to push. Pushing's easy. And then I can go back in my house and I can feel good that I did something because all I did was push. And that's, life is nice that way, when all you have to do is push now and then and fix a problem. And you don't have to, you're not responsible for anything. You didn't create the problem, you didn't do anything else, but you can just go out there and push and fix it. And so that's nice. And yeah, that's what I'm like everybody else. I don't want to have to do the work. I mean, I don't have to try to figure out, okay, well, how do I save the world, blah blah blah, come up with a plan, implement the plan, go through all this crap. I mean, it'd be nice if there was just something to follow, and there's nothing out there, that I can see that's followable, and that's sort of irritating, because it's all piecemeal. And so I might as well get to some of the points. I mean, that's sort of related to that. I think Ron Paul is a smart guy. Actually commented, thanks for all the comments. I'm going to try to get to them. I actually made notes of the comments, so we'll see how this goes. But anyway, he commented something like, what's my agenda? What's my massive change? What am I looking to accomplish? And yeah, well, this is part of the problem. I mean, I did actually mention in that video instant runoff voting, but I mean, I do have the other solutions videos, and I'll post a link to them again. Because those are the main themes, the subjects, the little changes that'll make a big difference, I think, in terms of inspiring people and also changing the national dialogue. But anyway, it's just so ironic, because I mean, Ron Paul is a perfect example of why we need instant runoff voting. I mean, he's basically a Republican. He's not, here he's a libertarian pretending to be a Republican, or a Republican pretending to be a libertarian, but whatever it is. And the point is that he's just wasting his effort in the Republican primary, because he's not going to win, and then he has no intention to run in the regular election as an independent, as a libertarian. And without something like instant runoff voting, he'd have no chance of winning anyway. And that's always the trap. People aren't going to vote even in a primary. They're not going to vote for the the Ron Paul, when they know, well, there's still a good distinction between Giuliani and Romney, and so I have to waste my vote on one of those two assholes. People are always going to gravitate to those top two, because there's always going to be a difference between them, and they're not going to want to throw their vote away on some guy who's not going to win. And so that change just seems just so obvious. It is so necessary. There's a couple little cartoon videos I've posted links to. Well, I'll post the links again to the stupid cartoon videos. But I don't think they've reached 1,000 views yet. The subject is essentially dead on YouTube, and it just, it's not dead, but it just doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist in the mass media. It doesn't, it exists on the web some, but you have to know what you're looking for. You have to already know about it to find it. And but whatever. So I mean, it's just a little change, make a big difference. It's just, and there you go. It's not going to happen, though. It's not happening. And it's not happening because it's got no exposure. And so, which was another, I mean, it's at the bottom of the list, but we might as well get to it. Somebody said something like, there's it's tits that sell, and the ass, the tits, all that stuff. Yeah, we already, that's the cliche. And it was sort of like that Russian news a few years back, where they had the women would strip doing the news, and it's always having this gimmick, and you got to come up with some kind of way to market ideas, and that's just the sad fact. And but who wants to do that? Who wants to put ideas in a clown suit, or in drag, or whatever the metaphor would be? That's kind of depressing, and I don't think it has to be that way, but it probably does to some extent. And well, this sort of leads me to another subject, just because, boy, I'm no way going to have enough time in this video. On the whole teaching thing, because a lot of people think when I was talking about getting rid of the institutionalized teaching, I'm not talking about getting rid of all institutionalized teaching. I'm just saying scaling it way down. People would maybe spend a few hours a week at the institution, and the rest of the time they would spend like 6 kids in some neighborhood living room. And the point would be is that they would be required to endure watching the cable TV shows, watching the programming coming across, just because that's the only way it works. I mean, obviously when TV tried to do higher education, it doesn't work because people voluntarily aren't going to sit and endure it. The only way education works is that we lock the kids in the building. That's how come it works. They're forced to eat it. And we don't force them to eat it when it is free on television or free on the internet. And so as long as we force them to consume it, they will learn it. So that would be part of that. But like I said, the equation to me would be more, cable would be part of it, not just internet, not just, and so, and there would be some personal instruction in the sense, but I'd call it more like tutors. If you're having problems with a specific area, you can get your help where you need it. And even YouTube would be great for that. Skype, that kind of stuff, because there's plenty of people too that I think would be willing to help kids with certain stuff for free. I mean, I don't think that's even a I don't even think it's an issue of financing, but yeah, I think you'd certainly get people very cheap, make a little bit of money on the side to provide some tutoring. They wouldn't mind doing that, and in a way it'd be very harmless through this medium. But anyway, that's a whole nother issue. So anyway, the last video, I know it was kind of emo. It wasn't intended as an emo video. I mean, my depression is always going to be a problem. There's no way I'm going to be an undepressed person. I mean, if I solve the world's problems tomorrow, I still got plenty of personal ones, so it's not going to change. And my whole perspective, the whole attitude, you can't be somebody walking the top of the maze. You can't live up there. You either live in the maze or you don't live, but you can't spend your life walking the walls, the tops of the walls, because there's no cheese, there's nothing up there. So you do have to be a player to some extent, and and I'm just not made for the game. It's just I'm not built for the game. It just doesn't, it's a mismatch. So I'm never going to live. I'd never be the kind of person that would just be happy, or say, oh yes, the glass is half full. I'm always going to be a half empty person. It's just my nature. So don't worry about that. I mean, depression is no big deal. I've been there, done that, whatever, lots of times. So it's never gonna, depression will never finish me off. The only thing that'll finish me off is the conclusion that I'm done. That there's really is no hope. So if I someday just say, nah, this isn't even a lottery ticket worth, 10 zillion to 1, nah, the odds are just too thin, forget about it. But I'll hang in there as long as there's some chance of something, some roll of the dice, the number actually coming up. But if I'm required to roll a 16, then, then I'll know it's game over. So, see, I ran out of time and I didn't even get to any of this. So, maybe I'll make a second video, maybe I won't. I probably won't. I'll think about it. So anyway, thanks for all the comments. It's really very nice of you.